Let's continue to the next part. Again, you should look at the lesson plan. This would probably, it depends on the age group and the time frame that you have. So follow with your supervisor regarding the lesson plan and what you need to do. But I'm going to continue as close as possible to your lesson plans, but you need to remember that the lesson plans varies from school to school and from group to group. But we're going to continue. So basically we glue the card, and now we are going to continue to the next part, and that will be already the dinosaur itself. So first we're going to start with the small parts. Again, just notice that on the Stegosaurus we have numbers indicating where the parts should go. Make it a little bit easier on you to instruct the kids and for the kids to understand which part goes where. So we're going to start with the head. So we're going to pop the head right here. So this is the head. So we have 1, 2, and 3. You can see that on the head we don't have numbers, but it's easier to see. If this is the kid's first model, just explain to them how to twist the parts out so they're not going to have a problem with the parts later. So the head is super easy. Just one goes here. And of course the kids put glue in the cracks right here before they connect it, and the other side goes here, and basically we have our head complete. So that should be a short and easy step for all the kids. And we have the head of the Stegosaurus. We're going to put this aside for a second because we're going to continue. Here we go. Basically we are going to the backbone. So we're going to pop it out like this. Carefully, if the kids need to break this in two, you can let them break this. So it's fine. As long as they don't break the backbone itself, then we're good. And then we can start popping out all the parts. One by one, pop out all the ribs. So we're just gonna pop out all the numbers. And our number 5. Very well. So basically now we have all the ribs popped out. Now you'll see you have some splinters, not only for aesthetics, it's also sometimes it's very important for the functionality of the robot to have the parts smooth out and file down. So use the filers, let the kids use the filers. Once they're done filing, only then you can continue. Don't let them file this. If they file this, most chances they're going to break it. So ask them not to file this. Now, you can do it in many ways. The easiest ways to do it, I asked them to put all the 6s together, all the 5 ribs together, the 4, and we have one more 6, and the 2 small ones. Now, you will be able to see we're going to start from the start. This is the tail. This is the head, so we're going to start from the head back. But it's really important to explain to the kids that the cracks on the ribs should not be facing the same way. So if this crack is facing the right side, this should face the left, this should face the right, and this should face the left. So that means also the numbers are not going to face each other, and so on and so on. So the first part actually dictates the sides. So the kids are going to use, again, wood glue. They're going to put 1, take the rib, put it in, 2, take the rib, put it in, and so on. We're going to do it quickly with the super glue. So right now I have the first rib in. I'm going to look at it. Now the crack is my left, so I'm going to see the crack on the left. So the number is facing forward. So the second one should be number facing back, okay? So number facing forward, number facing back. So we have 2 ways of checking if we're doing it right. 1, the cracks are not aligned from rib to rib. 2, the numbers don't face each other. So the numbers, 1 is facing front, 1 is facing back, the next one is going to face front and back, and so on until we get all the ribs glued correctly. Now it's not important. The robot is still gonna work properly. So we have 6, 6. Now we have 4, follow the numbers. So the robot is still gonna function properly. It's only a matter of presentation, because the dinosaur will look much better if we have the ribs not aligned and actually facing different directions. It will give it a more authentic look. So now we're at number 5, so let's quickly just put all the ribs together. So we have our number 5s connected, and then again 6 and 6. Again, I'm looking at the cracks, make sure I'm not aligning them. Very good. And then we have the 2 ribs that are without numbers. Again, we still continue from here to here, so the 2 back cracks stay open. So this is 1 and this is 2. And again, the kids will put glue in advance. We're gonna put glue right now. And then basically we have the spine with all the ribs. You can see the ribs, and you can see, if you can see the cracks, they're not aligned, so they're all facing different ways. And we can continue to the next part. Now, always look at the time. Look how much time you have. Should you continue, should you not continue? Follow the lesson plans just to make sure you do not have parts that are not yet glued, or parts that you just glued and you already need to pack everything up, because the glue needs to dry at least for 10 good minutes, if not more. So we're going to take the head, of course, put glue in the cracks, and then connect the head. So the head goes in the front, just like this. And now we have the head. Again, look at the time. If you have time to continue, you're going to continue to the next step. If not, pack everything up, clean the tables, and only give the kids their bags with their names on it, and only then you can continue. Now, in case you have time or you're moving to the next step, you're gonna pop out the diamond parts. So we have 6 big ones and we have 4 small ones. So you can see here the small ones. We have 4 small ones and 6 that are larger. So we're gonna start with the small ones. So small ones go to number 6. We have 4 number 6s, and the rest are going to 4 and 5. So number 6 will be right here, right here. So I would put 2. Again, I would work in a very systematic way. I will start from the beginning and go to the end. So I will start with this. So we have 1 and 2, and then it's number 4, so it's a bigger one. So I'm going to put number 4, and so on. I'm just quickly going to connect everything together. But the kids go one by one. Of course, they put glue in the cracks, and only then they connect the parts. And now you can actually see and appreciate the fact we did not align the cracks on the ribs, because now we can actually see the shape it's taken, and it looks really authentic, and it gives us the feel of the Stegosaurus. Now you can see how the ribs are not facing the same way. And then we have, again, 2 number 6s, so these are the small ones. So this will be the first, and this will be the second. This is 1, and this is 2. And basically we have the spine with the ribs and the face connected. Again, look at the time. Only if you have time. You don't need to rush it. We have the 2 tailbones, so I'm gonna connect them now. These are very sensitive, so make sure that you glue them only if you have enough time. You can always keep it for the next lesson, so don't rush gluing it unless you have time for it to dry. These, of course, go in the back like this. 1 and 2, and that gives us the tail of the Stegosaurus. And basically now we've completed the part of connecting all the ribs and all the parts that goes on the spine. So we have the head, we have the ribs, we have the top part of the ribs, and we have the tail, which should be dry enough so it doesn't fall or crack. We're going to continue to the next part. Again, follow the lesson plan. Sometimes you should build the card first and continue with the motor and then go to the spine. Follow your lesson plans, but each lesson plan is basically broken down like the video. So if you need to do the motor, you'll do the motor first, and then you need to do the spine, just like we showed you at the beginning of this video. So basically, for this, we need the card that we already glued on the first class. We need a motor with a rubber band. Do not give it like this to the kid, because once they pull the rubber band, it's going to rip the wires off. So you take off the rubber bands for them. Carefully keep the rubber bands because we're going to use it later, okay? And we also need a 30 screw. We need a 30 screw and a regular lock nut. Now here we should have a very easy step: red wire on top. Always red wire on top. We can't have red wire on the bottom because it's going to go backwards, okay? Red wire on top. So we're going to put it like this. Put it like this and align the holes of the motor to the holes of the card. If you are not sure of the direction of the battery box, and especially if this is the first class of the kit, you can provide them with batteries to double check the side of the motor that is spinning. My recommendation, especially if it's the first robot you're building, or especially if you're working with the kids, that's their first model, always connect the batteries and see that the motor moves forward, and it also checks that the motor is working. So once you do that, you can leave the batteries here now for this model, so we see how we can continue. So basically now I know that red wire on top, always red wire on top, and the motor spins forward, so I double checked it. Again, it's all time sensitive. If I have time, I'll take the time to do the double checking. If not, red wire on top should be enough. So I am going to align the holes of parts number 1 and the motor so I can push the 30 screw from one side of the model to the other side. So I'm going to push it through the wall, into the motor, and out from the other side of wall number 1. And then I'm going to take the lock nut and I'm going to close it. Do not forget to put the lock nut, because once the dinosaurs start walking, this gets looser, and if I don't have the lock nut, the screw might fall out and then the motor will disassemble. So I'm going to do this. Again, if I have time, I will give the kids screwdrivers. I will give them the safety regulation about using screwdrivers, and then I will hold the lock nut with my finger. I will explain to the kids how to use it, and then the kids love it. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So righty-tighty, we're going to twist it to the right, hold the nut like this, and now we have the motor safely secured in its spot. Next, I'm going to take the wires through the crack, and I'm just going to put the box right here in between parts number 2 that we glued earlier on the card. Now, this is extremely important. Do not glue the battery box to the card, because the switch is on this side and the cap of the battery box is on the other side. So if you glue it on this side, you can switch batteries. If you glue it on this side, you can turn on the robot. So just click it in. It should fit exactly without falling. And just as a safety precaution, you're gonna take the rubber band we took off the motor at first, and I'm just gonna double or triple spin it on the motor and on the battery box. So worst case scenario, if the kids need to take this off, they just need to take the rubber band off and not start breaking parts because we glued it in class. So now we have this ready. We only need to now to assemble the crankshafts. The crankshafts are 2 black plastic parts, and we're also going to need 2 driller screws, which are pointy edge, and they are a little bit bigger than the bug screws that we use in other models. So the crankshaft should not face the same way. So one crankshaft will be facing down or to the right, and the other should face the other way. Now usually I give an explanation to the kids that will be easier for them to understand. I show them, okay, I have two crankshafts. If I put them like this, would that be fine? And they answer no, and if they answer yes, I explain to them why they should be like this, because we don't want the dinosaur to hop, we want it to walk. So once we connect both crankshafts not facing each other, we're going to take the driller screw, and the driller screw goes into the hole to the hole that connects the shaft with the motor. So this one, and we drill it into the white hinge. So this will be here, and then again I will hand over the screwdrivers again as a general thing that you can do all the time and make it a habit of yours is every time you finish a part in teaching the class. So if I finish gluing the card, I will collect all the glue, only then continue to the next part. Same thing I will do here. So if I finish now with the screwdriver, I'm going to take it back, I'm going to have one of the kids collect it for me, and only then I'm going to continue to the next part. Even though I need the screwdrivers again later, I would rather have it on my table than having kids play with it. So basically now we have the crankshafts connected, and we have the card completed with the motor. And that brings us to the last part of the robot, of the dinosaur, and that's the legs. Now you all have paper that comes with the Stego and the Triceratops, and this paper basically shows you how to put the legs, how to place the legs on the table, so it will be easier for them to connect it the right way. Each of the kid, you can hand each of the kid a piece of paper with the drawings with the sketch of the legs, and ask them to just put leg number 1 where it should go, put leg number 2 where it should go, and then part number 3. I'm going to show you this like you don't have the paper, but use the piece of paper. It will save you a lot of time. It will also save you a lot of energy, and it will definitely prevent mistakes that will be harder to fix later. So basically now, as you can see, we took all the parts out, asked all the kids to collect the leftovers and throw it to the trash. So again, we have a clean work area so the kids can focus on the parts. So number 1 would always be a rear leg, the back leg. So we have big hole, small hole, they're closer to each other, and number 1. So I'm going to ask all the kids to place number 1. Again, if you're using the paper, they will see the sketch of the legs. But if not, then you'll ask them to put number 1. Then I will take number 2 and put it next to it, like this. So I'm going to have number 1, number 2, the shoes are facing the same way. And then I'm going to take number 2 and face it against number 2. So I have 1, 2, and 2, this shoe and this shoe are facing each other. And again, number 1 chases it from the back. So I have 1 and 2, this is going to be 1 pair of legs, and 2 and 1 are going to be the other pair of legs. Now this has to be like this because we want the legs to be facing the same direction. So once we connect them, this is the way to do it. Again, easier to use the paper. If not, you can do it like this. You can draw it on the board and show the kids what you need. And once you check that all the kids did the same thing with the legs, you're gonna tell them to place part number 3 like this. So the larger hole will be aligned with the other larger hole, small hole, and then we have small hole on the top of leg number 2. For this, basically, we're going to use 4 golden paper fasteners, and we're going to push them only in the small holes. So it will go here, and it will also go, small hole will be right here. Okay, doesn't go in the larger hole because we need it for the crankshaft. So basically what they're doing, they're putting both. They can do 1 by 1, they can do both, it depends. You will see how the level in class. So let's do 1 by 1. So I'm going to place this right here. I'm going to push it in, and then I'm going to split it open from the other side like this. And then again, this goes here. I'm going to push it open on the other side. Now if you have advanced kids in class, let them help other kids once they got it right. And then we do the second pair exactly like it is on the table. Some of the kids will have a little problem with this, so make sure they always work on the table. It will help you explain the directions of the parts of them, and that will be the legs. So we have two pairs, and now if they're facing each other, you can see the legs are going to walk together. Once we're done with that, we're going back to the card. We're actually going to connect the legs to the card. We have two rules. One, feet should be facing forward, so if the feet are facing the back of the motor is not good. And the second rule is we need to see the golden head. So if I'm taking this and the legs are facing forward, I still don't see the golden head. So I asked them to choose one of the pairs and just place it large hole on leg number 1, and I'm just gonna slide it onto the crankshaft, and I'm gonna see the black tip coming out of the bridge right here. And once they did it right, we're gonna take a driller screw again, and this time the driller screw goes into the crankshaft. Now make sure you twist it all the way in and then half a twist back. So we're gonna twist it all the way in like this and half a twist back. Okay, and now we have it loose, and we're gonna do so one driller screw, and then I'm gonna ask the kids, I'm gonna check, and if they did it right, I'm gonna give them a paper fastener, and I'm gonna line the hole on leg number 2, the front leg, and the wall on the card number 3. I'm gonna line the holes. I'm gonna push the paper fastener through the leg, through the wall of the card, and I'm gonna split it open from this side. I can slide the battery box a little bit if needed, and I'm gonna split it open from this side. So now I have one pair of legs is assembled on the card. I'm gonna flip it over, and now it's easy to do this because they can't get the directions wrong. Again, I'm gonna take a driller screw. I'm going to drill it in like this, all the way in, and I'm taking half a spin back like this. I'm gonna line the holes of the leg and the card, push the paper fastener from one side to the other like this, split it open like this, and now I have the card assembled with the legs on it. It might fall over because it's not aligned. It's supposed to walk, so it's not gonna stay steady. And then the last part is taking the body, and we're gonna see the crack right here between rib number 1 and rib number 2, and we also see the crack right here on the front of the card. So the kids are gonna apply glue right here, wood glue. So what they're going to do, they connect the crack into crack, and then this part in the back, the crack in the back, is gonna sit on top of the triangle we have right here. So this will slide in, of course, after we apply glue on the triangle and on the part, and then we're gonna wiggle the triangle a little bit. Make sure you don't break this. If the kids need help, this is the time to help them, because you don't want to break the lower part, the back part. And basically you slide the back part onto the triangle, and we're just gonna put some glue, and basically you have your Stegosaurus ready to go. This will also be a checkpoint for us to see that the Stegosaurus is actually working and functioning.